You're listening to Truly Unruly with Marcus and Jessica Trufant.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to your favorite podcast. It's Truly Unruly with Marcus and Jessica Trufant. My name is Kel Trufant. What's cracking?
What up?
Hey, Kel. How are you?
How you guys doing? I'm good. How are y'all doing?
All right.
We're doing pretty good.
Word. Interesting topic tonight. There's a video that's going around about this dad and his parenting style. I partially agree with it. I partially disagree with it. But to get everyone familiarized, here it is.
To be honest, I don't care. I force my kid to do everything. I don't care either. He says he doesn't want to wake up at 6. I force him. Doesn't want to brush his teeth. I force him. Doesn't want to drink water. All he wants is apple juice. Guess what? You're drinking water. I force you. You're shy. I don't want to go out there. I force him. Doesn't want to do parkour. I force him. Doesn't want to eat his vegetables. I force him. Everything that he doesn't want to do, I force him. Because guess what all he wants to do? Guess what he wants to do? He wants to play video games. He wants to eat cake and ice cream. It's all he wants to do. When he's in the gym, he wants to shoot half-court shots. That's what they want to do. So I force him to work on layups. I force him to eat healthy. That's our job as parents. We're supposed to force our kids to do the correct thing because we know the outcome of forcing them to do what they don't want to do. So when you say I don't feel like forcing my son to do this, I don't want to force it on him, I want him to develop this natural love for it, that's stupid. He might not ever develop a natural love for it. You make him do it. I was forced to lift weights, and guess what? I developed a natural love for it. I developed a discipline where I like lifting weights. Like, that's what you have to do. You develop this love-hate relationship with hard work. That's what you're trying to put on your kids. So stop saying you don't want to force your kids. Force them.
All right. So what do you guys think about that?
I mean, I have so many problems with this man and his authoritarian. Authoritarian?
Authoritarian.
Well, authoritative. That's the calm one, but the authoritarian, right, brings down the hammer. Like, it's
my way or the highway.
The old
right?
school mentality, my way or the highway. And to call other people stupid for not agreeing or not forcing their child to do something, no, you're stupid, sir. You're stupid.
My thing is, every child is different, and we've talked about this on numerous occasions. So what works for some kids might not work for others. Some kids may need this type of motivation. Don't make it right or wrong, no, but this may work for some kids. This dude in the video, he said, oh, yeah, I started lifting weights. I was forced to lift weights. I developed a love for it, all this kind of stuff, allegedly. But what did that do for him? Is he making money from it? Is he scarred from it? Does he have trauma from his parents pushing him, making him do something he didn't really want to do? So I think there's a fine line. There's encouragement, but forcing. I'm kind of like you, Kel. I kind of straddle the fence on that, but forcing and making kids uncomfortable, sometimes it just doesn't work for a kid. Every kid doesn't want to wake up early in the morning and go train and work out. Every kid's not an athlete, right? Just because you want them to be an athlete, it really don't work that way. So it's tough.
Right. He made it's kind of a blanket statement. You need to force your kids to do something. Well, there's a difference between pushing, guiding, encouraging, which he said, you don't do that as parents. Well, then what the fuck do you do? And to force a child, it probably works. It worked out for him, which we don't know what he does. What do you do? Teach a group exercise class? Like, what the fuck do you do?
We haven't done the research. He could be a billionaire from lifting
wouldn't he say that?
Weights.
Wouldn't he say that?
But we don't know quite yet. So I guess I'll reserve my opinion until we have Kel do the research.
It doesn't work that way, like you said, for every kid.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes forcing a kid a person, no adult wants to be forced into something. So why do you think it's okay to force a child into something, especially something that they don't like? What happened to you try different things, and when something sticks, then you encourage it, and then maybe you force them if one day they're like, I don't want to go. Then that's the force.
There you go, mama.
But you don't
Tell 'em.
force them. That's like his own personal shit. Forcing this child, I want you to do this and I want you to do that. He wants to eat cake and candy. Who the fuck doesn't as a child? What are you doing? Restricting him at the same time, denying him? Some
Maybe you
kids do
gotta stay
not
in shape.
respond well to that.
Six
And
pack.
that is traumatic.
Early.
And they will resent you for doing that. Not every case, not all the time, but
Question, Jessica, do you think this could be like this parent, this dad kind of going back into his childhood and some trauma he's dealing with where
absolutely, this is his personal
maybe
wants
had to
and
go
wishes
through, so he's
for
pushing
his
that?
son. Did his son say, Dad? He's implying that his son doesn't like whatever he's doing. And this dad is like, I want you to do it.
I got you.
I'm going to force you and make you love it. Like he said, he has a love-hate relationship. You shouldn't have a love-hate relationship with anything that you do. Period. If you don't like
at a
it,
young age,
don't do
maybe,
it.
but
My mom forced me to play the fucking piano, and
can you play a tune for
she's
us?
the only one that ended up disappointed.
Shout out to the G's.
You cannot force certain kids to do anything because they will go the opposite way.
Very true. Very true.
So
It's a touchy subject, man. You want to encourage your kids. You want to push them. You do hear of the positive, of the stories that go to the top, like I guess the Michael Jackson stories of somebody that is groomed and forced and
yeah,
coached hard or pushed hard,
He
right?
wasn't groomed. He was whipped.
Yeah,
into-
Joe was making it happen, but look at the success, I guess, that came with that, though. So,
like anomaly, like not very common. Like the average person is
Wait,
not
guys.
like.
Wait, guys. I can't sit here and let you say that, Marcus. I don't care how successful you are. That is not worth your mental health. Okay, continue, Jess.
wait a minute. Wait. I bet if we took a poll, and I think we should do it, I set that up. That's an alley-oop. If people was like, okay, would you trade the Joe Jackson experience to be able to become Michael Jackson? How many people would take that?
Look at Mike. He's dead.
Of course he is.
I'm like,
and-
he's dead. So I
R.I.P.
would not want to do that, to live the type of life. First of all, he's white and he's dead.
R.I.P. and God rest his soul. But I think we should ask the people, because some people might take that. Okay, I'm going to take this hard shit up front, but then I'm going to get this result at the end.
But if you don't like he said, a love-hate, he was forced to do that, or to, like, if you're letting people force you into shit as a child, you're going to be forced into shit as an adult.
Or maybe you go totally the opposite way and you
Or
just
the opposite way.
shit all over
And-
people because you're not playing that.
Right. And it's a whole like thing with parents, kids don't have any rights. Kids, you do what I say or else. And that doesn't really work out all of the time. And it teaches your kids to just take anything from a boss and
Very
something
true.
like that. It teaches
Very
them to not stand
I
up
agree.
for themselves and have a voice for themselves. It teaches them not to ask questions because it's, I gotta do it,
I
or
gotta
else,
fall in
or,
line, right?
And that fear of getting in trouble or something's gonna happen in the back of the, fuck that shit. You have a choice. If you don't like playing soccer, why the fuck would I force you to do that?
Unless you need some exercise, right? You need to get off the video game. You need to stand up and
Well, you can
get off the
encourage, but you
couch.
can't. I don't know. You can't make some. I don't know. Kids don't listen in general. But his poor son.
I agree with him when he said though that he has to force him to like brush his teeth and stuff like that. Like, homie, you need to brush your teeth. Like,
Well, this is
what
hygiene.
we doing right now? Yeah, like the
This is-
hygienic
this-
stuff.
And
And
for
like
health
eating
reasons,
good.
right?
Yeah, and like, and,
Right,
like
for
drinking
health
water
reasons.
and being healthy, like that stuff. Like I totally understand.
You can't even force them to do
I
that.
know.
I'm forcing my kids to do that because
Our doctor told us, right?
You do it for them. Brush your teeth for them.
The kids will eat.
Oh, about eating? Yeah, we learned a lesson about eating too.
They'll eat when they're hungry.
When they're hungry. And that's
And-
another thing. We were forced
Yeah.
to clean our plates. And now look at us. We're fat and we're forcing food down our throats.
That's
because
cultural because we
Speak
didn't
for
have.
yourself. Speak
Okay,
for
well,
yourself.
But that was it.
Yeah, I
We
didn't have
were-
to be forced to eat either.
I
I was
was
pretty
forced.
greedy as a child.
Well,
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. It's
Right,
not
yeah.
in every
Yeah.
case,
Yeah.
right? There's some kids that respond to force and thrive in force. But
I wasn't forced, so I enjoyed it. But I get you.
But there's a fine line. You know, as a parent, you should know when to push and when not to push. You should know when to force, like I said, if they're like a stellar, like whatever, I might force you to go to practice or play that game.
Because you know they love it though. That's their
Because
thing,
I know,
though. Right.
I know the deal.
And they're
I know
involved,
this is
they're
just a
going in.
phase. I know this will pass. But to force somebody to do something just off the top, I don't know. I don't know.
I get what I get you, Jess, because I have a cousin that he's really, really smart, really, really bright. But his dad, who I love to death, was just, I think, kind of really hard on him and like forced him to do a lot of things like he didn't want to do. And because he's really, really smart. And I mean, the payoff worked. He ended up going to an Ivy League school and has an amazing job now and all this stuff. But like, he's kind of, I don't want to say he's socially awkward, but like he's kind of on the social side, like he's lacking. Well, no, like he's just really, really quiet, you know?
Right.
And I think it's always been just because how, you know, hard my uncle went on him. Like he went super hard on him and like forced
Right.
him, like, you're doing this, like you're gonna do this, you're going, and he's just like, damn. And it kind of like, you know, made him lack in other places. But so I get what you mean. And I just remember my own family and my mom trying to force me to do stuff and how that fucking turned out, you know? So, I mean, I think we can all look from our own experiences, you know, of what being forced, what the repercussions of that can actually really be. You know, it ain't for everybody. And I agree. But at
It's
the
a
same
fine
time,
line. Fine line. Yeah.
yeah, at the same time, there's a fine line. And I feel like there is a place where you got to kind of nudge him and be like, hey, yo, nah, you need to go handle your business. Like, you need to go do that. But
Right.
just
Right.
living vicariously through your kid and just like shoving things down their throat, pause, like, and making them do shit, like, you got to kind of chill on that.
Right. I don't want to
Yeah.
play basketball. Oh, no, I don't give a fuck. You're playing. That is like, that's selfish.
I have a question. Do you guys ever get questions about about Cash and like him playing football? Have dudes
I
ever
was
been
just
like,
about to say that?
yeah, is he playing football? Are you going to make him play football? Like, blah, blah, blah. You did,
Right.
your brothers did. How often do you hear that?
I hear it a lot, man, and it's kind of like the thing, kind of like a cliche thing, and people don't really know that that's what they're doing. It's kind of like this is a normal thing. It's kind of like the thing they do. But Cash, to be honest, he didn't play flag football this season because he really didn't want to.
He doesn't
really
like football. And he said, why do I have to play a sport?
Right. And he gets the concept and he likes to watch the highlights on YouTube of me and his uncles and everybody likes to watch the plays and the big hits and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But
he likes the idea of
going
it, but
out
he's
and
like, I don't
actually
wanna play that.
training and doing the work and stuff like that, I had to check myself at times because I'm out there with Cash and sometimes he's really not into the game, right? And if I'm more into the game than you are from the sideline, it's time to go home, right? So I had to kind of had to check myself and be like, all right, Cash, you kind of do this at your own pace.
Right.
And if you want to do it, cool. If you don't, you don't. And Cash, he really doesn't like defense. And that's what got to me because he don't have the ball. He wants the ball and wants to be able to do his thing, wants to make highlights. I think that's all kids nowadays.
No, he
Did
wanted
you get
to
my
tackle,
video? Yeah,
and that is
he
not
wants to tackle.
what-
It was flagged, but he really don't want to tackle because I don't think he wants to get hit, but he likes to hit
Other people.
right? Of course, he got all sisters at the house, so when he's out there with the boys and rolling around and doing his thing, it works. But yeah, I don't push Cash extra. We've done stuff. We go out and do drills every blue moon and stuff like that, and he enjoys the concept. But I'm not gonna push him to wake up at 6 a.m. and train and eat a bunch of protein and do all that stuff to get ready for football, because that takes away the love for the game. And you wait till you get to the pros or you get to college where they're going to force you to do things because you're on scholarship or you're getting paid. Right now, it's supposed to be fun and you're supposed to enjoy it. And if you don't like it, don't do it.
Right.
Don't do it.
And about forcing your kid to be a basketball star when there is a 1% chance that you're going to be that's the problem also, that parents think their kids are going to be these fucking superstars and these athletes and have all this money and all this kind of stuff. Reality, probably not. And so I can only say this because I've just kind of seen it happen. But parents, first of all, when you force your kid from a young age, there is burnout. And they don't want to do anything. They don't want to play the sport. They don't want to do anything anymore. And then there is, I forgot. Fuck. I forgot what I was going to say. And
you were on a roll.
I was on a roll. But let me just think about that, because you can't
find it, Jess. Find it.
Yeah. Here we go.
There we go.
And then
there it is.
Like what I said from, kind of just seeing this happen. Some people are destined to be great, and you do not have to force them at a young age. Sometimes, and dance. No, it's not fucking basketball or football, but it is a sport. These dancers train.
Full-time job.
It's hard on their bodies. Like, they're little athletes, right? And I have seen somebody come into dance from football as a sophomore, and by his senior year, he was pretty much getting scholarships and all of this kind of stuff. So if that is your path and you are going to be great at it, sometimes you don't have to force them, or you don't have to force them from a young age to groom them and da-da-da-da-da. Sometimes it is just innate. It's in there. It's going to happen whether they are forced, whether they wake up at 7 a.m. to train or not.
Well said, Chica. Well said.
What about those parents that like believe, and I've seen this a lot here in Vegas, those parents that believe that they almost have to program their kids like a machine to, want to take it to the next level. Like, because I've seen some of these parents or some of the kids that I've coached down here for like basketball, and just some of my friends' parents or some of my friends who are parents of kids who play like baseball and stuff. And like baseball is a really, really big thing out here in Vegas. And just the training and the intensity. And I'm just like, what happened to just letting a kid be a kid and actually like enjoy childhood,
Kel, yes.
Because that part's wild to me.
You make them train and train and train. I know this firsthand, not from me, but I know you fucking work those kids to the bone. You train them. You take them out of school so they can train. They don't get to have the normal experiences as other kids because they have to train. They have to train. They have to train. They have to train. And they end up working at Walmart.
Which is not
there's nothing wrong with that. But when you have those expectations
benefits,
as a parent,
right?
And you push and tell these kids that, yeah, and then it doesn't pan out for them,
You know what it is too, that I've seen that has kind of taken off in the last, I guess maybe for forever, but maybe like the last 10 years. It's the business of the trainer, of the sports trainer, the specialist, right?
Money,
For
money,
those
money,
that
money.
have it, right? And who want to see Timmy go to the NFL or be the starting running back or point guard in high school. This business of the personal trainer has went
It is.
crazy.
It
And with
is
social
next
media,
level.
and I'm not hating on trainers. There's a lot of good.
I was going to say our
Yeah.
kids do privates and our
Yes.
daughter just started training, but it's not because we think she's going to be the next
Yeah.
woman.
We just want them to be better. Yeah. We just want them to be better and get some extra practice. But
Well, it's because
this-
everybody else does it.
this thing that everybody's looking for, the Michael Jackson effect, I guess I just coined that.
I
I'm
like
gonna make
it,
a
the
shirt
Michael
about
Jackson
that.
effect.
If you push a kid hard enough and you stay on them and you try to make it happen and you make
His
him spend
success
enough
came with
hours,
the cost.
yes, it's gonna push him to this level that you want them to be at. But if the kid doesn't want it at that same level, it doesn't work though. So again, I'm not hating on the trainers, but everybody can't go to the show. Everybody can't do it. It's just a numbers game. And if
I mean, all three of you guys did it.
we did, and
But
we are special.
That
we
is
are
not
special.
common.
Yes,
so
we
all
are
you
special.
parents out here that think your kids
But-
are going to be the next superstar.
But didn't nobody have to force us to do anything. We love sports in general. We love being outside. We loved just playing sports and running and jumping and doing all that kind of
Right.
stuff. It was natural for us, right?
it appears that the force is in sports, dance, all of these kind of competitive type sports. There is a force. Well, why don't you go force your child to,
Piano.
learn how to work the register?
Right.
Why don't you force your child
Or to read a book. Shit.
Right.
Okay, I'm
Why
about
don't
to
you
say, read
force
the
your
books.
child to do other things? You don't hear parents like that. Yeah, I forced him to, like, what would you force? I don't know, something. But yeah, I force him. I make him do it every day.
Yeah,
I make
Jessica,
him work
Jessica,
that cashier's.
Jessica, you ain't met no Indian families or no Asians before?
Well, Indian, they are Asian.
Yeah.
Well,
Because
For me.
I know a lot of Asian kids who their parents forced them to play violin, forced them to study certain things, or if their family owned a store, you got out of school, you came and you worked at the store. You know what I'm
Justin,
saying? So
you've
you have
talked
that-
about this.
But that's different than like sports is like it's different.
I still don't feel like wanting to do it.
in the
I don't feel
family
like doing it.
store, whatever. That's not necessarily the force that
Is with you.
and the pressure that it is when you're doing
Get it.
sports or something like that.
Right. Jess, what I was going to say, you've talked about this with me of the fear of parents, the fear that parents have that their kids won't be successful and won't be able to
Take care of themselves.
So right? So is
there's
that where a lot of this may
Yeah, it
come
could.
from?
They
Them to
want
force you to
well,
be able.
there's living vicariously, right?
Yeah.
And then you're right, forcing kids to do something and be somebody and make something of themselves. But to my point, I think it's even more in sports. And it's like, I don't know.
Right.
It's like unrealistic to think that if you force your child so much that they're going to be the next NBA star.
But do you guys think what that is like those parents that are looking for their retirement plan? Where they're like, all right, I need to like, I got my little 401k, but
401k is not a
get-
bad thing, Kel.
It's not a
Right,
bad
right,
thing,
yeah.
but if I get a little DJ here just to get on a practice squad and make league minimum for like 2 years, we could do
made
something
it,
with
right?
that.
I mean, the family
Yes.
made it, baby.
Yes. There are motives like that. It's really hard for me to imagine doing that. Like, yeah, we about to be star. But I do see where parents would feel that way. But again, when your child is in Little League football and he's like the best on the team, does not mean that he is going to grow older and be NFL worthy.
But the fun part about that is, or where parents, I believe, kind of hold on to, that doesn't mean they're not gonna go just because it's Little League. I was awesome in Little League, right? So there's steps and there's progressions to this, and I can understand where parents are. Okay, yeah, my son is doing great now. He's standing out. He's separating from everybody else. So let me just push this and let me see exactly what can happen, right? And you never know.
But have realistic expectations, because then it does turn into the force.
It gets slimmer. It gets slimmer as you get older, as you go up in levels, right? So that Michael Jackson effect that came up with, you never really know. So I can kind of understand where parents is at, but it's definitely a fine line, and you don't want to push your kid so hard that they're even disappointed. It's hard for people to come off of, okay, I was this as a young man, I grew up, and now is that as serious as college, as pros, and I couldn't do it. They struggle with identity and all this kind of stuff, and maybe even depression and stuff like that. So you got to be careful.
Right.
I mean, peaking out is a real thing, because there's plenty of guys and gals that were really, really good in high school.
Right.
As soon as they got to college, they realized everyone was just as good, or if not better than them.
I mean, is that Uncle Rico on Napoleon Dynamite? Is that the guy? Like, if Coach would have just put me in, man, we would have went to the championship. Too much living in 82 and all this kind of stuff. It's guys that are really like that. I don't know if that's parents' influence, but everybody wants to make it to the show. I go back to that again, but you just got, if you can help it, as a parent, you don't want to put too much pressure on the situation.
Right.
And that's maybe like an old school type of thing.
It is.
Because nowadays, everybody's going, right? If you're in the magazines and you're top 100 and all this kind of stuff, you got the city behind you. It's crazy. It's a lot of pressure on these kids, man. I don't know how they do it with social media and all that kind of stuff. They're better than me. So,
yeah.
I mean, the other thing too is, like, no matter how hard you push your kid, they gotta want to have the desire and what it is that they want to do and want to be successful in, because your pushing is only going to do so much. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to the cream is going to rise to the top. Like, the ones that are going to stand out are going to stand out. I remember, like, people growing up that, like, even might have been you, Marcus, when I heard about you in high school, when you played basketball, because you were a really good basketball player in high school, and I heard about you. And
let them know.
Yeah, no, for real, I've heard about him down in Tacoma, and, like, you were one of those cats, like a few other cats I know. Like, I don't even feel like you even worked out much. Did you train a lot, like, in the weight room? Or were you one of those guys that, like, you could just breathe on the weights?
I was one of those guys. I trained a lot, though.
Right, Kel, that's what I was saying. Some people, it's destined.
I was natural, though. I was a natural athlete.
It's natural. Yeah. They're going to make it to the NFL just because
of their makeup and how they're wired, right?
They're just genetic. Yeah, because I remember like hearing about you were like that. Nate Robinson was like that. There was a couple guys that were like that. They were just like, they could just show up and just
people weren't hiring private trainers, and you weren't getting up at 6 a.m. to shoot fucking baskets and shit.
But here's the thing about in the defense of the private trainers, especially like these feeder programs like we have down here in Vegas, is Game Changers. Mm-hmm. And Game Changers is the feeder program for Bishop Gorman. If anyone knows anything about high school football, Bishop Gorman is one of the top high schools in the country.
I've heard of it.
What they pretty much, well, the receiver that played for UW this year, he was from Gorman. And so, like, what they do, it's not just training, it's they get you indoctrinated into that system at an early age. So then by the time you get there in high school, you already know the system, and it's plug and play.
And you're already on everybody's radar, too, as far as the marketing and whatever that comes with it.
Training. Like I said, our kids have trainers, but it's not always, I get it what you said, Kel, a feeder program, but there's not always like a feeder program. And
I mean, my son's in that down here for basketball.
Always...
He's there and he's balling. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, and Orion, I don't force him to play basketball. He just loves playing the game. And he's like, I want to do this, Dad. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's do it. I support it. Like, if you're into it, let's do it, you know? Yep. So like some of those like programs and some of those trainers, like I totally get it. Like I understand it.
Wait, you want to hear about forcing? Here's something. So Cassidy, she was in competitive cheer and she started it. She didn't really like it, but I didn't force her, but we had already paid and you're going to do this season. And so it was kind of like a force. It was like, you're going to practice. And it backfired. She was psycho at practice. I would get private messages saying, we don't know what to do with her. She will not participate. I could not force her to do that. She did not like it. And she was good at it.
Yeah.
And as good as she was, they wanted her. They were asking her back even after she quit.
Right.
She was good, but she did not like it. And so, like I said, even though I really wanted her to cheer because she was good, I had to step back as a parent and say, if you don't want to do this anymore, we're not going to do it.
But Jess, the fine line was, we're not going to let you quit mid-season.
Right, we're not going to let you quit mid-season.
Yeah, and be hurting the team and doing all this other silly stuff and foolishness.
Right. But to her, we were forcing her to do it.
I know, but you got to finish the season at least. If you start something, you got to finish it.
Right, and she finished it. She didn't want to go back, and I could have forced her to go back.
Right.
But I didn't. And
I thought you was, too. I thought you was going to force her to go back.
I know, I didn't. And now she plays competitive soccer, and we don't even have to, she's ready to go before she loves it. She loves it.
A beast on the flag football field, too. Beast on the flag football field.
And that makes me happy as a parent. Not that I forced her to do something. We would have to drag her into the building. Okay, that's a whole nother story. Not because she was forced to do something, but because I set my hopes and dreams and wants and wishes aside and allowed her to find something that she absolutely loves to do. It works. It worked for me. It doesn't work for everybody. Yeah.
Amen.
Well, that was well said. So I think we all come into agreement that you can't just be forcing your kids to do stuff. There's a fine line, and their path in life, they will eventually figure out what it is that they love, and they'll rock with it and they'll run with it. And all you can do as a parent is support it.
Right.
Makes sense.
Support.
So,
and exposure, right? There's nothing wrong with showing them or exposing them to different stuff along the line, but it's up to them to figure out what they're going to gravitate to or what finds them or what they like, right?
Like, why is it, like I said, doing this as a child breeds adults that let people just run all over them and, oh God, I was, and it's like, no. I don't care what you guys say. These kids, they shouldn't have all the voice, but they should have a piece of a voice, right? Because they're kids. They don't, whatever. But they should have a piece of a voice.
A little say.
Just a piece. Just a piece.
A pinch.
Especially when it comes to like sports or something. Give them a voice. Like,
yeah. No, I think we all agree with that. It's don't do the forced parenting, smart parenting. And I think more parents need to think about that, is try to do more smarter parenting instead of forced parenting, because forced parenting is just knee-jerk reactions.
Yeah. Knee-jerk.
It is. It's that whole.
I hate knee-jerk. Yeah, you got to think through this whole thing, right? Yeah.
Well, yeah. It's that whole, well, this is what my parents did, and look how I turned out. And we and that's a whole other conversation.
It's
we can go down that whole, that whole, just because your parents said it was right they said it was right doesn't make it right. So
Right.
word. Good talk, y'all. Good episode. I like it, man. Good conversation. Truly Unruly, y'all, with Marcus and Jessica Trufant. If you want us to answer any of your questions, you can email us at trulyunrulypodcast@gmail.com. Of course, follow these guys on social media, Marcus_Trufant and Jessica_Trufant. And you can follow the Truly Unruly page on all things social at a Truly Unruly _podcast. Listen to us on your favorite podcasting platform. Remember to please like, review, and subscribe. And of course, catch us every Sunday on Converge, and the visual is on YouTube. Boom.
Hey.
All right, y'all. Till next time, parent smart, y'all. Peace. Much love.